everybody, and welcome back to Heretic Wargaming. So sorry, I don't really have a background to me today. I've actually figured out a good way to set up my camera, so I didn't really want to move it around for this video. So today I'm going to show you guys how to convert cultists. So cultists aren't seen very often anymore. They used to be the bee's knees. Every single Chaos list pretty much ran a bunch of them, right? We had a good old tide of traders that you could keep spamming. Keep bringing back tons of cultists, right? You give them Slanesh, shoot twice, all sorts of craziness. But that's kind of gone away. Recently, I think it was Michael Porter is his name. He did do pretty well with a list at LVO. However, I am still a fan of cultists because, well, you can make them out of anything. The only thing that you might not be able to make them out of is orcs. I don't know, orc cultists. Maybe that might be a video for later. But today I'm going to show you guys how to actually convert some cultists out of, they're called Neophyte Hybrids, so it's a Gene Stealer cult kit. So I want to say thank you to my father, James Burkett, for donating some money to the channel to allow me to bring you guys this video. So it allowed me to buy the supplies that I needed for this video. And then I also want to thank my buddy Sean. He donated some bits from his Skitarii collection, which is quite big, his AdMech collection, and you guys will see a battle report with him hopefully right around the time I filmed this video. And he donated some stuff towards the channel, so that allowed me to basically make the variations of my cultists. And so in this video I'm going to show you guys not only how to kit bash a cultist out of pretty much a kit that was meant for a completely different faction, but also how to do a bunch of green stuff work. I'm going to show you a bunch of different techniques that I've kind of picked up, and it was kind of trial or error. I have looked up some videos myself, but just like anything, practice makes perfect, right? And you figure out what works for you. So without further ado, let's get right into the good stuff, and let's make some cultists. So welcome to my cultist making tutorial. So as you guys can already see, I've already went ahead and disassembled my cultist kit. So, like I had mentioned in the intro, we're using the kit for Neophyte Hybrids. So this is a pretty new kit. I think it was $40 kit, and it comes with quite a bit of bits. So you actually get a total of, I counted 12 different body styles, and then 3, 6, 9, exactly 10 legs, and then a ton of different guns. What's pretty cool is you actually get different shotguns, and I actually took out a bunch of the stubber bits, so I don't know if you guys can see, because these are supposed to be autogun cultists. So, and I'll zoom in here in a little bit when I actually start getting to work. So you'll see that right here I've got all sorts of bits. So over here are actually a bunch of Skitarii rifles, some random hoses, and some random like little claws and stuff like that that my buddy Sean gave me. Thank you, Sean, for this tutorial. And then I also took a few of the Skitarii rifles. They're like art guns or something, because I like to kind of vary my cultists, right? I don't want them all to look exactly the same. So your buddies with bits are probably your best resource, but like I said, if you guys can, visit a bits exchange and maybe you can trade for some. And I also have one Tau rifle here, so I thought it was kind of funny. I was looking through my bits. I had one Tau arm. I was like, oh, hey, maybe a cultist, you know, robbed a Tau dude. So, so we got that. And I also have some different heads, and I'll kind of show you guys, because it's going to actually take some green stuff to get the heads to work properly in the bodies when we get to that point. So when you're working with green stuff, your best friend ever is petroleum jelly. So this is just a little jar right here that I got, I want to say I got it at Walgreens. Yeah, it's actually the Walgreens brand. It was like $2. Best thing ever. You're always going to need lots and lots of petroleum jelly. And because we are building, I've got my awesome Hobby Chest brand glue. So Hobby Chest is, as you guys know, my local store here in Jacksonville. And I buy their glue because he's got a really nice... this is an Instacure Krillane super thin glue. It's kind of runny, but I have a habit of overgluing things. So because it's super runny, it doesn't tend to goop up and hide some of the details as I'm working. I also have this stuff right here. So this is actually parchment paper. Wax paper also works very, very well. This stuff you can buy at just basically any grocery store ever. Now, when you are working with green stuff, there's some tools of the trade that I highly recommend, especially if you guys are intending to do bigger stuff, you invest in. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust the camera here to show you guys my tools. Oh, God. Why is this so tight? Alright. So you see right here, I actually have a little paint spinner guy. I bought this on Amazon. And in here, it's actually filled with a bunch of paintbrushes. But I also have these. So these right here, these metal tools, I got these at Hobby Lobby. So these are good for when you're making nicks, gouges, scraping on different types of green stuff, right? If you're trying to do like cuts and flesh and stuff. This right here is really good for spreading out green stuff for big applications. This little rounded edge right here. So that kit came with actually 4 different ones. 4 different applicators. You can use these in different styles. You got these are rubberized tools, so these are actually very cheap. You can find them at Hobby Lobby. I bought mine on, I want to say, Amazon. They're super cheap. Like, see, the ends just come right off. They're really cheap. But the biggest thing is you want the rubber because it doesn't stick to the green stuff. So it actually allows for like smoothing out of the green stuff whenever you want smooth applications like flesh or cloth, things like that. So these are very, very nice to have. I also have this right here. So this is actually a cell phone for like a really old cell phone. It was like the way to get to the SIM card, I guess. And my wife found this in one of our old, I think it was like a Samsung S2 or something kit. And it's actually perfect because I use this to do like pock marks inside the green stuff. And then the other end's a Phillips head screwdriver, which you can use that also to like make kind of like dents and gouges and stuff like that. So really, you could use anything that you guys find around the house to do green stuff. It's pretty amazing. I've got this right here. So this is a little piece of plastic. This is what I'm going to use to make some poxes or boils tonight for my video. And then you also have these. These are plastic rounded tools. You also have metal rounded tools. So you get these on eBay, or sorry, on Amazon. They're really cheap. They're good for smoothing out green stuff as well. Also, some of these tips right here, this one, not so much. There's one, yes, this one right here. This actually has a wooden texture. I know it's probably kind of hard to see on the camera, but you can roll it on the green stuff and it actually makes it look kind of like wooden or wrinkled. So it's good for cloth. It's pretty neat. So those are some of the tools I'm going to use tonight, just so that way you guys can kind of follow along. If you are new to green stuff, definitely there's some other great tutorials online that you can follow. I also have this guy right here. This is probably one of my favorite tools. It was my wife's. She used it. It's for like card making. I'm not entirely sure what it's for, but you can see these little rough rollers right here. You can push it into green stuff, and when you roll along it, it actually makes little like pocks or pock marks. So it's really good. You just kind of do this over the green stuff, and I'll show you guys here in a bit. And it'll make it look all like pocky. It's pretty cool. So first we need to build the cultists, right? Alright, so let's go ahead and adjust this down. So the green stuffing comes a little later. So if you guys aren't really interested in me building some cultists, then y'all can go ahead and skip ahead in the video. So we got the body, or we got the legs right here. I have different bodies, so I'm just going to go ahead and put these together, and I will come back when I am done. And so you guys can see I've went ahead and assembled the bodies. So I've got the bottom halves and the top halves of each of the dudes put together. Now, one thing I'm really bad about is I don't read instructions. And I don't know how many of you other guys are like that, right? So if you've ever noticed, all of our kits come with these neat little instruction manuals of, you know, hey, point A goes to point B. I don't ever follow those, so I kind of cut all these bodies apart before I had even looked at anything. So it actually was kind of a challenge because some of the bodies only go together a certain way. So just make sure you guys read your instructions a little bit before you guys put them together. But luckily everything worked out, so now I've got my bodies together, right? So I've already went ahead and I counted out 10 rifles. So like I said, I've got different Scutari rifles here, I've got some Genestealer Cult rifles, so on and so forth. So because I have not already cleaned, so by cleaning I mean went ahead and filed down the bits, so like these are the other halves of the arms for each of the Genestealer Cultists. Now I got to go through and actually assemble each arm to a different secondary half of the arm. So this is a really tedious process. I just kind of wanted to show you guys where I'm at right now in the process. So once I get the arms attached and I get, so for example, I've got some backpacks, I'm going to put on a few of them, and I got some heads. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of assemble them. And me personally, I like to actually put my guys on the base. I probably won't do it this time because I do have green stuff work that I need to work into this as well. So you'll notice, especially if you guys are doing this, so on all of our Genestealer Cultists, so I'm going to, try to autofocus in here. On all the Genestealer Cultists, they have these little Genestealer Cult logos. So I've tried to cut a couple of them off of some of these guys right here, but all of them have it. So I need to at least make it look somewhat, I don't know, less Genestealery. So because these are going to be Nurgle Cultists, luckily that's not going to be as hard. I'll be able to use green stuff to kind of mask the icons to make them Nurgly. But, or make them into like little, you know how there's like the little flaming balls and stuff like that, or little pox balls on stuff. So I'm going to try to kind of more or less mask them instead of completely getting rid of them. I did cut a couple of them off, and it made the cloth look kind of funky. So I've kind of just decided that I'm going to go ahead and mask them. Now if you guys are trying to do obviously Slaanesh or Tzeentch or something like that, might be a little harder. You guys might be able to get away with just leaving them on there and just kind of saying they're, I don't know, whatever. They do add character to the models, so I'm probably just going to leave a couple of them alone just to like make my dudes look a little different. Maybe they stole some Genestealer Cultists uniforms after killing them or something. Who knows? Because I mean, they are mutants and renegades, so. But I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to attach their arms, I'm going to put on some heads, and the few heads that actually require green stuff I'm going to hold off on, because that's the stuff that I actually want to show you guys. So I will be right back, and magically these guys will be put together. So I've went ahead and put together my cultists. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a few of them. So we've got this guy right here. As y'all can see, he's got a some sort of like fisty arm. I'm guessing it was like some dude powering up, probably hooked to some hoses. He's pretty much complete. I don't really feel the I don't really feel the need to green stuff him at all. He looks sufficiently cultisty. I used one of the so the cool thing about that Genestealer kit is that it comes with heads that could be definitely look like cultists. So this guy is more or less done, so I'm not going to really do much else with him. This guy right here though, so he does have a Genestealer head. You can see it's kind of oblong shaped. So I am going to do some green stuff on him here in a minute. That's about the extent of it. He does not have a Genestealer. Yeah, I don't really see a Genestealer thing on him. So he'll be pretty much done after I do some green stuff on his head. So this guy I think is going to be the Sergeant. I actually really like how he turned out. Sorry, let me go ahead and get this to focus. So this is the guy with the tower rifle. So you can see I actually used an AdMech hand. He's basically pointing out, right? So he could probably end up being like the Sergeant of the Cultists or whatever, but he's like pointing like, hey, everybody shoot at this dude over there. He does have a Genestealer Cult icon still on him, but I don't know if you guys can, yeah, you can see that. He's got a skull on the gun because I wanted to leave it like Tau, like he stole it, but I wanted to kind of show like he, you know, customized it a little bit. I don't think that the icon's going to be very detracting of this guy, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it. And I want to say everyone else will end up getting a tiny bit of green stuff. So it's either going to be I'm going to be building some cloaks, or sorry, some hoods, or something like that. I do still have some bits over here on the side. You're going to see I've got some horn, or some like little horn bits that I cut off some plague bearer heads. Also some tongues that I cut off of some of my blood letters, because I did customize my blood letters because I don't want them all to look exactly the same. And then we have a couple heads that I still need to add. So there's a bitey head and a like fat dude head right here. So I'm going to have to actually kind of zoom in on that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and, so this guy right here, let's go ahead and show you the body for this guy. So this guy right here, I figured would be, we call him Comms Cultist. So I actually cut like a little, it looked like a microphone hand, and I think it was supposed to attach to the backpack, but because of the way the body is, I was not able to attach the hose all the way. So I filed down the back here, fit the little comms backpack on him. Sorry, I know it's, yeah, this autofocus is weird. Went ahead and attached his backpack here, and then made it like almost like a wireless microphone. I left a little bit of the cable hanging out, almost like a little transmitter there. And I'm going to turn this into the fat guy. So I've got like a little fat guy head here. And then I have a basic cultist here. And this is going to end up being the, it looks like a demonic head. The other thing with him is I'm actually going to have to gap fill a little bit back here, because the arm, I don't know why it was not lining up properly. And there's actually another cultist here where his arm actually wouldn't line up at all. So I'm going to show you guys kind of how you can use some green stuff to go ahead and fix issues where, like, let's just say a part's not lining up, or you put something together wrong. Like I said, I cut the kit without looking at it, and then the bits that Sean gave me, I'm not entirely sure if I grabbed the right, so you can, yeah, y'all can't really see, but there's like a whole pile over here. These were actually all the little arm bits, and along with my spikes and stuff. So I wasn't exactly sure what fit to what, so I was just kind of guessing and copy and pasting till I actually got it figured out. So first we're going to go ahead, we'll start with this cultist right here. So like I said, I just want to alter his head a little bit because it's way too gene stealery to be a, I don't know, a demonic cultist. So when you're mixing your green stuff, so I'm going to kind of zoom out until I get to the nitty gritty stuff. So when you're mixing your green stuff, you're going to see it is a green and a yellow part. So common knowledge will tell you that mixing the green to the yellow will go ahead and turn into, mixing the blue into the yellow will turn into green, right? That's why we call it green stuff. Now the ratio in which you mix the green stuff is what's going to determine your color. So here I'm just going to go ahead and knead it real nice. I like to roll it. And this is where your parchment paper comes in too, because parchment paper is non-stick. Wax paper, like I said, works a lot better, but I did not have any in the pantry. Go ahead and close my glue, that way it doesn't fall over. Glue falling over is bad. So, trying to fill the space. So you're going to see it starts turning green, right? So it's a nice light green color. That means that I've probably mixed about the appropriate amount of yellow to blue. Now, if you've got a really dark green, it's like almost like a blue-green. That means you've mixed more blue than yellow. And what that's going to do to your green stuff, it's going to actually be a lot harder. So you're going to actually notice when you're kneading it that it's actually much harder. And it's going to dry extremely, extremely hard. Now, green stuff does dry really hard as it is, but the blue stuff is like really hard. And then converse to that, if you go ahead and mix more yellow into your green stuff, it's going to turn on like a lighter green hue. And what will end up happening is it'll be a lot softer and more malleable to work with. Now, it has different applications. So if, like, for example, you're trying to make something really hard to, like you want it really stiff to work with, you would probably want it to be that darker green stuff. And then if you wanted the lighter green stuff, that would be something like maybe you wanted it really fleshy and malleable, easy to smooth out, then you might do it like that. Me personally, I like to do just equal amount all the time, no matter what the application is. So you're gonna notice I just literally have a little teeny ball. So this ball is, I don't know, it's really small, really small of green stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and apply it to the top of this dude's head right here. I need to actually adjust the camera before I do this. So the thing is, I don't want to, once I start messing with the green stuff, I don't really want to have to mess with the camera very often. Because green stuff can and will stick to stuff that it should not. So let me go ahead and move everybody else out of the way. Alright. So one thing about green stuff is your fingers will leave, will definitely leave imprints on it. So you're going to just gently mold it around where you want. So I should probably tell you guys what the general idea is here for this guy. Is that, you know, these are Nurgle cultists, so I want it to be, make him to look kind of like almost like a demon kind of is starting to possess him. So I want him to kind of have some, a horn coming out of his head. So like I said, I have a bunch of horns here that I cut off of random plague bearers. Now, green stuff actually holds bits in place very well. And so, oh, sounds like my dog's here. Hi, Boogie Bear, what you doing? So I did not have enough green stuff for this horn to go ahead and hold in place. So I'm going to go ahead and add just a little tiny bit more to his head. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and poke the horn down into the green stuff. I'm going to kind of push it around it and kind of work it until I feel satisfied. And it looks kind of okay. It's a little too, let's go ahead and add a second horn. We'll go ahead and add a couple horns to him. Because you know what, these guys can be kind of whatever you want. That's the beauty of working with cultists, is you can kind of make them do whatever the hell you want. Sorry, I said hell. So hopefully you guys aren't offended by a little bit of yeah. See, that horn's not going to work either. Alright, let's add a little bit more green stuff. So this is not a perfect science. It does not work the first time every time. And sometimes you're actually, there's been some projects where I've gotten most of the way through it and then I've just completely scrapped it because it just did not look right. Alrighty. So you'll see he kind of looks like almost like a devil, right? He's got some green stuff on his head and some horns poking out. So for this guy, I kind of want him to, I want this flesh to be kind of smooth around it. So this is where I'm going to take one of these rubberized tools. And this is where your petroleum jelly comes into play, or Vaseline, or whatever you guys tend to use. And what you're going to do is you're just going to kind of smooth out the green stuff. So obviously the horns, I don't want them to be like one big lump, so I'm kind of splitting them down here, down the middle, and kind of smoothing it around. So this is going to take me, because I'm not exactly sure what look I'm going for, I just kind of have a general idea of what I'm trying to do. Ladybug, what you doing, huh? What you doing down there? Alright, so you'll see his horns kind of look a little funky. They're kind of like cattywampus a little bit there. So now I'm going to take, so this right here is actually a file. I wanted something with kind of a big, to do like a big adjustment or big holes. And what I'm going to do is just kind of poxmark all around. I'm dragging the green stuff down. So kind of the idea is to make it look like the horn is like growing out of the head, like the flesh is kind of like being torn down, you know. And he's kind of gonna look like Captain Ginyu. So if you like Dragon Ball, I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. He's kind of got a Captain Ginyu look going for it, which I kind of, I actually like. Maybe I'll name my cultist the Ginyu Force or something. Ladybug, what are you doing? You better not be being naughty. Yeah. For you guys who have chihuahuas, you know, you always gotta hi. Gotta give her some love. Hi, baby. Hi. Yeah. She said hi to you. She just wanted me to say hi to her. Now she's happy. Alright. Where'd my little pokey go? And then I got my little pokey proddy here. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of poke around a little bit. So I feel kind of satisfied, actually. It's not smooth at all. Like, at all. But I didn't really want it to be smooth. The thing is, my my Nurgle, I like to make them very Nurgly. Very, very Nurgly. I'm actually known for how Nurgly my Nurgle is. And so, yeah, I think I'm actually pretty satisfied with the way this dude turned out. So let's go ahead and zoom in there. So you guys will see, I use the bigger hole marker to more or less like kind of form these little pockets. I dragged down around these horns right there. So you guys kind of saw that. And see how it kind of like splits it, almost like a brain there. So that's why I said he kind of looks like a Ginyu Force member, or Captain Ginyu. So Captain Ginyu the Cultist is complete. It's that simple, right? Just a little bit of green stuff. Ladybug, Ladybug, why are you barking at stuff? Alright, so what did I want to do with this guy? So this guy, I think, so this guy, he's got one of those cultist icons I was telling you guys about, so I think I just wanted to mask his cultist icon. So this is actually very simple. Once again, you're going to do a little teeny ball of green stuff. And for this one, you know what, we'll do a, I'm going to try to do the 3-balled guy. You know what I mean, the little 3 balls that you always see on all Nurgle stuff. What do I want? So I probably put a little bit too much green stuff for that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my pokey tool. I'm going to kind of poke it down in and around that icon there. So if you noticed, I did not use any, I used no petroleum jelly, and that's because actually a little bit of the petroleum jelly did transfer over from my last application. So it kind of made like almost like a little, sorry, I'm kind of off of frame there, kind of made like a little pustule right there in the middle. And so this is where your little piece of plastitube is going to come in. So it's actually a perfectly round circle there in the middle. So I'm going to dip it in the petroleum jelly, try to rub off a little bit of extra, and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to just push in to the, yes, and so you'll see it made a little 3, the 3 balls there. Oops, sorry. So you could call that complete if that's kind of what you were going for. I don't like the fact that it's kind of it's like made little almost pockets of flesh around that. So I'm going to kind of scrape down this stuff. I want to leave the balls intact though, so I'm just going to kind of like just push down around it a little bit. Yeah. And so there we go. Pretty simple, right? Pretty simple, right? So now we've got the 3-ball little icon there, and yeah, he's more or less done. He'll dry like that, and you can leave just the extra extra Vaseline on there. Next cultist I'm going to go ahead and work on is, we'll go ahead and do Bitey Head Guy. So Bitey Head Guy. So why I call him Bitey Head Guy, right, is I got this little demonic head. I have no idea where I got it from, honestly. It might have came from like a Blight King's kit or something like that I don't know. Maybe a friend gave it to me. He's like, hey, you might like this, which I do like. So if anybody wants to donate bits to me, feel free. I love bits. Even your crappiest bits. So when you have heads that won't fit into the proper area, always fill the area with green stuff. So I'm going to just put a ball of green stuff there in the middle, and then I'm just going to go ahead and try to squeeze the head in there. And actually, it kind of worked. First try, wow. Let's see. I need a little bit more green stuff. So the reason why is because like his chin is kind of like hitting the it's like resting inside the collar, so it doesn't look natural. It looks kind of weird actually. There we go. Alright, there we go. Alright. So bitey face. That's what I'm calling bitey face, right? So you're going to see all the green stuff's kind of bulging out the sides there, but I wanted his face to kind of be out, right? And so because this is a Nurgle guy, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my really thin tool here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push in this flesh around the neck there. Just also gently. And I'm actually pulling it down into the collar there. So hopefully you guys can see it. Man, I gotta get better at making sure that the model is inside your view at all times, dear viewer. Especially if you guys are trying to follow my steps. Alright. There we go. So it looks kind of almost too nurgly there, right? So we want the skin to kind of be smooth on the inside there. So in this case I need a really thin. So I've got this round point. So it's part of that blue tools, right? The rubberized tools. I'm gonna dip it in my Vaseline. I'm gonna go ahead and shove it in the neck there. I'm gonna kind of smooth it around. Now your green stuff is going to dry very, very hard. Very, very, very hard. And it's going to hold this head in here perfectly fine. Now if you don't feel like it's going to hold the head in enough, then go ahead and y'all can add some super glue on top of it. It's going to dry kind of weird though. But I have done that before because I did not trust the green stuff to hold the head in. And so, after smoothing it in there, there you go. So it doesn't really look nurgly, but the head itself looks nurgly. So he's sufficiently, to me, I look at him like, oh yeah, that dude's he almost looks like an orc. And then there you go, that guy's head's done. Now, a juxtaposition to that is my comms dude, Fat Neck Comms Dude. Man, I'm coming up with some weird names tonight. I don't know what's going on. Fat Neck Comms Dude. So Fat Neck Comms Dude, so the head that I chose here, I'm going to show it to you here in a second. It is actually a Blight King's head. It came off of the Blight King's kit. My buddy Miles, hey Miles, out there, he gave it to me, and it's been sitting in my bits box forever, looking for a home, and I think I finally found it. And so, because this dude does have a waddly neck, as opposed to the other guy, where it was like kind of a thin head, right? I do want him to actually have a bulging, almost like a bulging neck going on, because he's kind of got some flab coming out there. So here I'm going to go ahead and use my cell phone tool. So that's what this is called, the cell phone tool. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of poxmark all around there. Now you guys can use, I know not everybody has a cell phone tool laying around. I myself did not know I would ever use a cell phone tool to do modeling. But pretty much anything that's very perfectly, like kind of like almost like a, here, let me go ahead and show you the tip of this thing. Oop. Come on, focus in. It's not focusing. Okay, there we go. So it's actually got a like almost like a tip on it, and then it's kind of like somewhat rounded there. It's almost kind of like a pencil, but not quite. It's kind of hard to explain. But because I just kind of want some ripply flabs going on there, I'm just going to do that a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and take one of my, I guess I would call these marking tools or something. And I'm going to take the one that looks kind of like a little knife here. And I'm just going to kind of jab it in here a little bit. Now, you might be asking, like, why are you doing this? It's to kind of create the illusion of almost like ripples or, you know, like fatty little pockets or whatever. And I'm just kind of like lightly kind of going up and down here. Now, I don't really like how that turned out, so now I'm going to go back through with my cell phone tool and kind of go over the ripples that I've made. Alright. And it's going to kind of give it like almost some depth and texture. So, and so there you go. So pretty much he's just like a flabby fat dude inside of, he's trying to call for help or whatever, I guess. I'm going to actually go through and use this a little bit too. The green stuff kind of got outside of my control area because I want it to kind of focus around the neck, right? So I'm just going to go through and just kind of push it back into place. Alright, so Fat Neck Comms Dude is done. So far we've went ahead and worked on 3 models. So green stuffing actually doesn't take that long, depending on the extent of the modification that you want to do. Now, if you guys want to see more complex green stuff tutorials, please let me know. Let me know what sort of things you guys want to see. I can do so like torn flesh and stuff like that. Those tutorials are kind of fun. Alright, so let's see. For this guy, I could do a hood, but he's got that thing in the way. This guy, we'll leave him as is, you know. Like I said, not everybody needs green stuff. But for my second Gene Stealer head, so this guy right here, he's got a very oblong head. So for him, I'm going to go ahead and do like a hood or a cloak, kind of encapsulating his head there. So to do, oh, sorry. So to do hoods or a cloth, you got to take a little piece of green stuff and you're going to kind of more or less roller it. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of take the handle of my thing here. Ah, crap. And you got to make sure you Vaseline it. That was stupid. I forgot to do that. So I always keep some paper towel nearby in case I get green stuff all over me there. Alright. So I need to make sure the Vaseline gets on the green stuff pretty good. Alright, there we go. And now I'm going to go through. I'm just going to roll it flat. Now the hard part about cloth is once you touch this green stuff, your fingers are going to imprint the hell out of it. And it's going to take on the look of your fingers. So generally people are going to tell you not to touch it at all if you can avoid it. Now I put some Vaseline on the paper too, so that way it kind of peels up. I don't know if there was enough. Might not be enough. Nope, I did not put enough. So I'm going to have to redo this. Oh, no. Actually, it came up. Yay! So I don't have to redo it. So once you have your little piece of cloth, right, you're going to go ahead and just kind of drape it lightly over the area. Now, it's going to be way too big for what you need it for initially. And so I'm just trying to hood this guy, right? So I'm just going to kind of drape it around his head. Now, like I said, I am not the greatest green stuff master. There are definitely guys way better than me. So if one of you guys want to reach out and tell me better ways of doing business, that would be amazing. Alright, so I've kind of got the general shape of my hood here, right? And it's way entirely too big. So you can take your snippers, or you can take really whatever you want, and just kind of, you know, snip around it. And it'll cut kind of like paper. Don't cut too much, because it's going to be hard for you to salvage it if you guys cut way too much off. I'm going to be silent here for a second because I got to focus. No. Alrighty. See, I kind of, because I pulled away too fast, it went ahead and made like two long little strands here. So let me go ahead and cut those off. Alright. There we go. I got a little bit of extra green stuff. Yay! But I have the general shape of my cloak, right? Or my hood. So because this hood, I just kind of want it to go around him. I want it to look like it's kind of coming out of the out of his collar. I'm just going to use my thin tool. I'm going to kind of push the green stuff back behind his head into the recess around the around it. So don't care too much if you pocket a little bit, because it's going to look kind of pocky. You're going to smooth it out here in a minute when we get to kind of like finalizing the hood. I'm just going to tuck it in around his head there. Now, you know what? It might look kind of cool. Well, let's go ahead and finish tucking it in. So I've gotten the cloak tucked in around almost to like almost his chin right here. It's kind of hard to tell from my angle on the camera whether or not it's shown for you guys well. But I kind of like the idea of having this extra cloth just hanging out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of, this is way too much extra, so I'm going to go ahead and trim this real fast. And y'all can take your time. There we go. Y'all can take your time. This is not a quick process, and I'm probably making it look a lot easier. It's because I've been practicing quite a bit. Some of my older models look pretty terrible for the green stuff, so at least in my eyes. And so I kind of like this extra cloth hanging out. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of pull it down a little bit. And then I'm trying to make it like folds and flaps. So I'm going to kind of show you guys what I'm doing here in a minute. I gotta focus quite a bit because with cloth, and when you guys are trying to like make hoods and stuff, if you guys mess up and it lays improperly and it looks pretty terrible, it's kind of dry that way, and then yeah, y'all are gonna have to redo it, and it's gonna drive you absolutely bonkers. Alright, so I do like that. Now me personally, because this guy is a chaos dude, where is it at? I want to add some tears to my cloth, but what happened to my really thin? Oh no, do I not have it up here? Got my ball tools. You know what? This is improvisation time. Alrighty, improvisation time. Woo! Should probably make some graphic where like it starts flashing or something when I'm improvising. Oh man, what happened to my... Alright, well, I don't want to use this one, but I'm going to have to. So, X-Acto knife. So this is a brand new X-Acto knife my wife just bought me. I wanted to use my old one to do this, but... So I want to add some tears to my cloth, so I'm just going to go ahead and X-Acto knife and just kind of, more or less, make some cuts and tears in it. Now I'm kind of tearing the edges a little bit. I want to poke through. There we go. Get through the green stuff, right? And just kind of basically tear it apart. Now, I don't know how GW does their tearing, at least as far as the sculptors go. I'm not a master sculptor by any means. I'm actually pretty terrible at art, honestly. I think I'm pretty good at doing this because I generally enjoy it, honestly. And this is kind of just me talking to you guys, so I'm just... Because I want to add some tears to my hoods and cloaks. Alright. And so at this point, this is kind of what he looks like. So we've added a hood, right? I wanted to tear this stuff down, so I made it kind of look like it was draping off him a little bit. And so the back of his hood still looks a little, I guess, a little bulky. But it's kind of to be expected, right? His head's a little oblong and misshapen. Now what I want to do is I want to come back through here with my rubberize tool, and I'm going to re-smooth out where I actually tucked it, where I tucked it into his collar there. So it's kind of hard to tell, but see how it kind of like made it almost a line there? I don't like that. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to go ahead and smooth that out, because otherwise it just looks very awkward. So in this case I'm using my angled rubberize tool, and I'm just going to come in here. I'm going to kind of just smooth it out. Just smooth it out a little bit. And I'm going to kind of just blend that line with the actual hood itself. And you can actually use this tool to more or less like shape the hood as well. So I'm actually pushing a little harder in some places to kind of give it like ripples, almost like cloth, you know. And it'll be kind of hard for you guys to see it. I'll try to kind of show you guys the final product here. It'll take takes about a day for green stuff to dry properly. I know you guys can handle it quite a bit faster, but properly you should let your model sit about a day. So I actually really like how that hood turned out. And so there you go. You got a hood on a cultist, right? And so it's masking the fact that he was a gene stealer head. So it might look a little awkward, and maybe to the discerning eye, but to me it looks pretty good, especially when you add him into a unit. So it'll make him look kind of unique. Now, I always overuse my green stuff. You can see I've still got quite a big ball left over. I'm really bad about that, so if you guys are if you don't green stuff a lot, y'all might get in the habit of overdoing it a little bit. I gotta go ahead and wipe off my X-Acto knife. It's got all that goop on it. And so my wife kind of gets mad at me because we go through a lot of green stuff. She's like, you just got some. And I'm like, oh, sorry. Sorry, wife. But thank you guys for donating to the channel and allowing this video to happen. So I'm showing you kind of some different techniques and some different ways to use green stuff. None of these are like the super advanced, like getting into sculpting sort of thing. So this right here, you can notice that the arm has a gap in the back here. So it looks very weird. I don't know why it ended up happening with this guy. I honestly don't know. Because I tried every arm and none of them fit properly. So what I'm going to do is called gap filling. So you'll do this especially on older models that don't fit together properly. So you're going to go ahead, and this is why I also overuse green stuff, is because I never know exactly how much I need. I guess it might be better to get into a habit of using less than what I need and then just making some more. But, you know, I'm going to have an awful lot of green stuff left. Maybe I don't know. I've got a couple drones that I haven't finished. They're still bare, so maybe I can add some Nurgle to them. Give you guys a little extra. So what gap filling consists of is basically you are using the green stuff to shove in and fill the gaps. So what'll happen is when you guys go ahead and spray paint it, you guessed it, it's going to go ahead and disappear the fact that there was a gap there. So I'm just tucking in enough green stuff, and you kind of go around the periphery of it. Always try to gap fill like muscles and stuff like that. It's really hard to make it match when you gap fill. So luckily this is just a smooth shoulder pad, right? And so once I have the green stuff in there, I'm just going to basically use my little rubberized mallet tool here, and I'm just going to rub it and rub it and rub it until it's nice and smooth. If it were part of this cloth area, I'd probably just push down hard on a couple of spots to go ahead and give it that nice clothy look. And hopefully I'm in frame. Just paying attention to this dude right now. There we go. Oh no. So what ended up happening was I pushed it a little too hard, and so it squeezed out some on the edges. But that's fine. I'll just use the I'll just keep using the rubber tool and just kind of pushing it around. All right. Cool. And so literally all I did was I pushed in the green stuff, and then I just used the rubber tool to move it around. And so you can see no longer is there a gap there. It's completely full, and the green stuff kind of matches the shoulder pad there. So what will happen is when I go ahead and spray paint it, you won't know that there was ever any gap there. Fantastic. So far I've shown you guys kind of how to make icons. I've showed you guys how to attach heads different ways. Doing some Nurgly green stuff on a head. Then I showed you guys kind of some basics of making cloth. So when you guys actually, if you guys try to make cloaks and stuff, those are much more complicated and take a lot more green stuff. So the last thing I'm going to show you guys, and like I said, I'm going to probably do a little bonus here at the end where I'm going to Nurgle up an already Nurgly model. So here I did not attach the arm to this cultist, and the reason is, you're going to see, so when I go ahead and put the arm in, right, the hand does not line up properly, so it's kind of hard to see there. But basically the hand's off by quite a margin, you can physically see. So what we're going to end up doing is it's kind of like an advanced gap filling. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attach the arm. I'm going to go ahead and glue right there. And I'm going to go ahead and attach the arm to the hand part of the arm. So the reason why I'm doing this is because, let's see if I can actually get it to stick. You know what? It might be better just to do green stuff on both ends. So I'm going to do this reverse. Normally I can glue it to one half of the thing and then I have to use green stuff to kind of complete the model. But here I'm going to actually use green stuff as my glue because for some reason the arm is super not wanting to line up. And so this is actually something that I do quite often. I learned how to do this early. It's almost like using, if you've never heard of it, some modelers, especially the sculptor types, like to use like blue stuff or gray stuff or something like that. And it's a putty that does not fully stick, so you can actually put a model together without actually building the model. And it's pretty cool. It's good for like test fitting models or for people who like to sub-assemble models. So they'll basically get all the pieces so that they fit together properly, and then they'll disassemble the model, paint it, and then put it back together. So those are for the super, like, y'all are crazy awesome modelers. And mucho respect to those kind of guys. There we go. So you're going to see I kind of attached the arm here with green stuff. So there's actually quite a bit of green stuff. It's really hard for me to tell what you guys are seeing. So there's a lot of green stuff here, and then there's some green stuff around the wrist here. So I'm going to go ahead and take a break real fast because my thing's about to end. Go ahead and finish putting this guy together. So like I said, I put some green stuff here on the wrist. So first I'm going to go ahead and use my sharp tool, and I'm going to basically push all that green stuff back to where the wrist was at. What I'm doing is basically balling up that green stuff, and I'm going to push the wrist back onto the green stuff. So what that does is it basically forces it to close the gap, and now I'm just basically going around the wrist here and pushing the green stuff all around it because I want it to look like one piece. Now what'll end up happening often is you're going to put way too much green stuff there. So I'm actually using the scraping tool to see, I actually got a big chunk of green stuff out of there. Because you want the bare minimum in there. Otherwise it's going to look like he's got one big, bulky, huge wrist. And so basically I'm just smoothing the green stuff into there, and I want it to just look like a natural part of his wrist. So once I've got the basic shape down, which that looks about right, I'm going to go back with my smoothing tool. I'm going to go ahead and smooth it. And then same thing for the shoulder, right? There's tons of green stuff bulging out here, like lots of green stuff. And I don't need that amount of green stuff. So we're kind of almost doing like a gap filling, almost. So see, I pushed some green stuff out of there, and I'm actually reallocating it up onto the shoulder, because the shoulder is really where that huge mismatch was at. And so I actually didn't overuse too much green stuff here. Alright. Wow, this actually was a very easy model. There we go. So basically what I did was I just contoured it to the model right here. If you guys can see it. And it looks all pocky. It does look like basically I'm trying to nerdify him. I'm going to go ahead and push the shoulder back in there because it kind of misaligned a little bit. And this is kind of what happens with the green stuff, right? So the shoulders keeps trying to push away from the rest of it, and that's just the way the model is. So once I get this settled, I'm going to leave it on his side to basically cure, and then he'll be, once he's dry, I'll go ahead and put him on his base. So I'm using my smoothing tool. I'm just going to go ahead and smooth the wrist. You don't really have to worry too much about the inside part of the wrist, right? Because that's not really where people are going to see. If you're super anal, which I am not, I'm very not anal. You can ask my wife about a lot of stuff. Well, I guess some stuff I am anal. I think everybody is. But just essentially just kind of smooth around the green stuff there. Alrighty. And so his shoulder kind of looks weird. I don't know, just the way that arm lined up, it just looks really odd. I don't know if I like that. And that could just be from, so when I was smoothing it out, yeah, that's exactly what happened. So when I was smoothing it out, it basically pushed the arm down. And I did not like that. I want the arm to be kind of like up in the center here, you know. So this is not going to be my best work. Yeah, there's way too much green stuff now. So I made it sound like it was going to be all easy, and now he's proving to be difficult. Go figure. So what I'm doing is I'm actually pushing this green stuff up against the model and scraping upwards. And what that'll do is it basically peels all that extra green stuff out of the way. Because too much green stuff just, it makes it all bulgy and looks weird, and it was not looking right. So alright, now I got all that extra green stuff out of the way. I'm going to just go ahead and smooth it back out. Fantastic. See, now the wrist wanted to misalign. Oh, you want to be just one of those dudes, don't you? And you guys at home are like now laughing at me and be like, what the hell is he doing? Heretic Wargaming, what a joke. Oh, I don't blame you right now. Alright, there we go. Cool. Yeah, it's not my best work, but it'll do. It'll do. Alright. Yeah, that'll do. Alright. Come on. Focus in. So these videos are actually taking quite a while. So you can see right here, so the shoulder is more or less connected now. Spray painting will definitely smooth that out a lot, especially with some paint. And then the wrist here is now properly attached to the gun where it should be. And so now we've actually got a complete cultist. Oh yeah, he does have one of those little cultist emblems, so I want to get rid of that too. And so for this one, I'm going to do, whereas the other one I did the 3 balls of, I don't actually know what that's called. I know it's the Nurgle symbol. But for this one, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to basically put a ball of green stuff on it. I'm just going to kind of pox around it. And what I want it to do is just look like kind of like a, almost like a corroded piece of flesh or something. Yeah, actually that's perfectly fine. And we're just gonna kind of like pull, sorry, I know it's hard for you guys to see. Come on, man. Alright. Alright, and so I just wanted it to look like, I just kind of just tore at some green stuff until it looks like a, almost like a ball of just, I don't know, flesh or something just kind of draping off of them. More or less just kind of covering up that thing. And I wanted it to look, I don't know, I like corroded, terrible, disgusting looking things, so our cultists are done. So like I said, we'll go ahead and do a little bonus of green stuff, and I'll be right back to do that. Okay, so like I said, I've got one of these plague drones, so he has not been painted yet, luckily, so he was just kind of hanging out on the shelf. So right here on the sides of the plague drones, should focus pretty quickly. No. Okay. On the sides of the plague drones here, you're going to see a bunch of holes in them, right? Because they're supposed to have some like stuff pouring out of them, but these guys don't. So let's go ahead and add some, I don't know, some viscera, some guts, right? And so people like my guts. I'm pretty good at doing this. Now, an easy way to do guts and tendrils and stuff like that is to buy, it's a Green Stuff Magic, and they make like tentacle kits and stuff like that. Me, I just get old school with it. I'm just gonna go ahead and roll a tube of green stuff. Now, if you put enough Vaseline on your hand, it's going to go ahead and it's going to make it nice and smooth, and you won't have to worry too much about it. So here I want to go ahead and make like the, well, let's make it look like viscera and tendrils kind of coming out of him. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my, my little tentacle there. I'm going to use, I like to use this file right here because it's very, it's big and it has nice surface area. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push the end of this tendril into here. So this is where you can make it into a tentacle, you can make it into guts, you can make it into really whatever you want. What I want it to be looking like, we'll make it, I'm going to make it like guts. So whenever you're doing viscera, what you want to do is while you've already made it kind of, while you've already kind of made it apparent that it's kind of pouring out of here, you need to make it apparent on the base that it's viscera. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and just pull at it on the base. And so what's going to end up happening is it's going to kind of like pull out. And you're going to get this effect right here. So there you go. So see, now it looks kind of like it's been pulled out of him and it's kind of like dripping on the ground, or you could have something ripping it out, or really whatever you want. Now to do this effect completely, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go through and do it multiple times, because we want it to look like, I don't know, maybe some intestines are being torn out or something. So in this case, where's my bucket at? Did I lose my, yeah, there it is. Yeah. Comb. Yes. So you're going to go ahead and put a little bit of Vaseline on the comb, and I'm just going to kind of like smear it on the comb there. And so I want this to look kind of like intestines, right? Which intestines aren't exactly smooth. Well, at least I don't imagine that they're smooth. So you can use this for spines or whatever. And I would like to credit, there was a YouTube video, and I think it's pretty old actually. And the dude kind of showed how to do this. So what you're going to do is you're actually going to push it on the comb. You're not going to push the comb on it. And the reason is because what's going to happen is your parchment paper is basically going to get rid of the texture, because you're smoothing it while you're trying to be getting that texture. So you'll see I've got kind of, let's see, there you go. So you can see it's got like light lines in it. So like I said, you want it to look like intestines, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this in there. lightly touch it, right? Because your hands will leave marks on it. And so this is also how I did some tentacles and stuff on my knight and some other stuff. And so I'm just going to basically push this intestine through the back of the viscera I've already put. I'm going to wrap it around it. And this does take some concentration. I'm going to go ahead and push this in kind of just above it. You don't want to push it in as hard as you did the first one, right? Because what's going to happen is it's going to kind of blend the two things together. And now I'm going to go ahead and just kind of tuck this intestine in right there. So at this point, so see, we got our blood and guts kind of coming out, and then we got this tentacle coming around. So what I want it to look like is kind of like this fly's coming down to attack, but its guts are just kind of pouring out the side there. And if you can't tell, I'm much more comfortable doing this sort of stuff than the other stuff I've already shown you guys. And that's because, yeah, Nurgle. Yeah, blood and guts. Blood for the blood guide or something. So, you want to use different sizes of tubes. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll a little teeny one here. And basically we're just layering these. We're going to layer these all over the place. Oh man. You're going to layer them on top of each other. You're going to layer them in between each other. So here I'm just going to put this little teeny tendril I made. Right here in between those two. And it's not wanting to go easily. And I'm just going to kind of tuck it in there. And I'm going to use my straight tool to just kind of drape it down in there. Make one more. This one I think I'm going to go ahead and use my comb for. You know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do like a long skinny one. And so this is very time consuming, very labor intensive process. But the end goal is to, yeah, there we go. So this is also how I make my maggots too. If you push your tubes of green stuff into your comb really hard, it makes really nice maggots. I know, you never thought you'd hear those words spoken, really nice maggots. Me myself, I did not think I would say it either. So that one I did a texture. I'm just going to kind of lay it on there. And so on and so forth. So I think I probably want to do, let's say one more. Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll go to the skin part. So for the skin part, what I'm talking about is, right, so we've got these guts kind of pouring out, but they don't just pour out of nowhere, right? We gotta have like a hole or something. So I'm gonna go ahead and flatten out some green stuff, kind of like how we did for the cloak in this very same video. So if you skipped over that part, right to the Nurgly part, I suggest you guys go back a little bit at least and get acquainted to how to make a cloak. So we're gonna flatten it out here, and then what you're gonna do is you want it to tear. So I'm gonna just kind of take, here I'm using my flat tool, right? I'm just going to tear at the green stuff. And you actually want to get through the green stuff. You want it to look like, you know, torn skin, torn flesh, right? Alright. And so if you put some Vaseline, or if you can get this to stick to your thing, it tears a little easier. But in this case, this is actually perfectly fine. So what I'm doing is I'm draping this torn flesh over the guts there. And so you need to kind of mold it to the area that your torn guts are in. So there we go. And so because we know that the skin, you know, there's not that much skin, what I'm going to do is once I get this kind of sat on here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut off anything extra. Actually, this might be the perfect amount of skin because I want the guts and stuff to be, you know, bulging out. Come on, man. So it's really sticking to my tool right now, which is really irritating because it makes it really hard to get it. Once it's stuck, I think I might have used too much Vaseline originally. Once it's stuck on there, it's stuck on there, and then you can kind of work with it. But if there's too much Vaseline, what's going to end up happening, and that's what I'm running into now, it's kind of slippering around the piece as I'm working on it. So yeah, actually this might have been the perfect amount of skin. Sweet. Actually, that looks really cool. Ah! Look at that. I'm happy with it anyway. Sorry guys, I know I'm kind of lost in my own little world, getting kind of silent here, and it's because I'm really, especially when I found something that I really like, and I really love how this turned out. Wow. Ha! Alright. I'm very happy with the way that turned out. Alright, so let's see, let's get it focused in. So you can see, right? So we've got our torn skin here, and all those guts are just pouring out of the side of my fly there. And they're just kind of puddling up there on the ground there. So I'm gonna actually, when I paint it, it's gonna be like, these will be kind of, I don't know, maybe red or like bloody colors, but then I'm going to kind of do Nurgle's Rot, right, because this is a plague fly and he's probably not going to bleed normal blood. So I've got the torn skin just kind of torn out. Let's see if you guys can kind of see it from different angles. So you can see, there you go. So see how it's all torn out, but it's like smooth here, but on the back side it's all torn and just ripped and torn, almost like he got shot and his guts are coming out. So I think it adds a very dynamic element, right? To a, otherwise, I mean, these models are gorgeous, they're really nice, but sometimes you just want to add a little more to them, and it's a way to make your model stand out. So I hope you guys enjoyed my video. I love doing green stuff, and I love modeling. Like I said, modeling is probably my my most favorite thing with when it comes to Warhammer in general. Honestly, if I could afford it, even, I would probably pay people to paint my models for me. I'm not bad at it necessarily. It's just I don't derive as much joy from painting as I do actually modeling. And I mean, Just seriously, the amount of detail and the amount of work that goes into doing some green stuff and just kind of, I don't know, just seeing something come together, it's just no other feeling like it, right? But hopefully this will help you guys, especially you aspiring heretics out there, to go out there and not spend 50 bucks on a unit of 10 cultists. The monopose cultists that you can get, I think it's like 20 bucks for 5 of them. Yeah, it's alright, they're easy to build, but they all look the same. They really do. They have no character with them. And I've actually taken and green stuffed some of my own monopose cultists. I bought a bunch of them from a guy who was getting out of the game. And basically just green stuffed a bunch to make them nurgly or make them look like they had autoguns, because they actually all had close combat weapons. But I mean, you guys saw, you know, hey, this guy right here, he's got a Gene Stealer cult weapon, but then, hey, this guy's got a Tau rifle, but hey, over here, this guy's got a Skitari rifle. So, really, if you guys collect bits from a bunch of different, and you can use IG, guardsman weapons, you can use whatever really you want, and you can just say, these are autogun cultists, and people will believe you, because they're just a rabble of dudes, right? And the cool thing is, you know, even if you have a bunch of the monopose cultists, but you want to add more cultists, you could just pick up a kit of, like, Neophyte Hybrids, or a kit of some guardsmen, or whatever, smash them together with something else, throw them into a unit, and yeah, it'll look like a big rabble, but that's kind of the whole point, right? Hey, and maybe hopefully one day we'll get a new Renegades and Heretics Codex, and that would be amazing, because maybe then I'll actually start fielding my cultists again. I only have, including these 10 that I just built, I only have 50 total, so I don't have nearly the 120 that you need to roll with the Abaddon list with cultists. So, not that I would actually want to run that list. It's not my playstyle. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my video. Please, 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 if you guys like the channel, subscribe. And if you're feeling generous, please visit my Patreon. I always add it in the bottom, in the description link for this video. And then, in the future, look forward to more modeling and painting videos from us here at Heretic Wargaming. So have a fantastic night, and see you later.